Hi, this is Kirby Summers. Today is June 2nd, 2025. And I'm going to make this brief, but I'm going to just try to bring your attention to the fact that clearly the JE story has been heavily censored. Heavily censored. And so one of the things that I want to bring to your attention is that in March, I began to explore Jack Nicholson's role and why he became so famous. I mean, he is considered the most accomplished Hollywood star. Now, I uploaded a podcast to my Patreon in March where I began to do a deep dive on him and discuss some things that I found that were unusual. The other thing that I discovered at the time that I'm going to say here briefly, because I want to just let you know in the event you have not become aware that anyone who tries to bring the truth forward as it pertains to JE and or the many people and the multi-generational issue that is at the center of this problem, and the reason you'll never see any cooperation from the government, is that all of these platforms, this one, in any social platform that we are on, and today I want to speak specifically about Reddit and how they are censoring and have been on top of this JE case. So in the event that you are a member of any of these platforms on Reddit, know that they're being handled in the same way that David Boies and J. Stanley Pottinger handled the survivors of the JE situation. That said, I uploaded some information in March. I believe I said in that podcast that there is a victim who's grown. However, he had been in the Franklin situation, and he said that when he was a little boy, he was taken to meet Jack Nicholson, and that he was photographed with Jack Nicholson. However, according to him, nothing else happened when he was photographed with Nicholson. Now, I don't have to remind you that it was in Jack Nicholson's house that Roman Polanski had not just one encounter with people that are not of age, but many, including a 10-year-old that I write about in my Substack. That said, someone else uploaded information today about Jack Nicholson and a known, a known woman who was associated with JE by the name of Lisa. Now, Lisa is a recognized survivor of this situation, and she signed a non-disclosure allegedly with the very famous Hollywood actor Jack Nicholson. What happened was that some other people started poking around and they uploaded a video to YouTube earlier today. Someone posted, whether it was they that did it or someone else, they posted a link to this on Reddit. Reddit removed the link. And that's going to be actually the image that I'm going to use for this podcast. Now, I had a lot of problems on Reddit, and I want to remind you that Ghislaine Maxwell was, in fact, the very high-level user of Reddit. Like think about it, every social media, and Reddit is like, what, the first page of the internet? So that when Ghislaine went to jail, her username and I believe it was something like Maxwell Hill. And it was a reference to her home, Headington Hill, that she grew up in. Then that username was no longer active on Reddit. So that I was having a lot of trouble on Reddit and I stopped using it entirely. And if you go look at my history on Reddit, you will see how I have been repeatedly attacked for many, many years on that platform. And you will see that anytime somebody tries to expose the monster that we have been trying to expose here, because it connects not just to the Sean Puffy Combs case and Jack Nicholson, the Jack Nicholson let's say drop, let's just call it a drop for now, because there's a lot more, is one that can like expose a lot of other things and let you know that what I have been saying to you, that it's multi-generational, is true. Now, among the things that I'm probably not going to be able to say a lot here, but what I will say is that I have been on this. I've been on it. And the other thing I want to say about Jack Nicholson is that when J.E. sent Maria Farmer to Leslie Wexner's house, it was so that she could be an artist in training for his wife, Abigail. And that while she was there, she said that she was working on paintings that were going to be used in As Good as It Gets, which is a Jack Nicholson film. So there are a lot of references and connections, Jack Nicholson to J.E. Jack Nicholson also was very close friends with Jean-Luc Brunel. We know what happened with Jean-Luc Brunel. So now we've been able to connect Nicholson to Jean-Luc Brunel to J.E. through Lisa to Roman Polanski. And then we know that Jack Nicholson, his house, connected via the underground tunnel to Hugh Hefner's house, the Playboy Mansion. We know that this connects to a lot of other people that I talk about on a regular basis. There is an ongoing push to try to get Harvey Weinstein out of jail. And this comes from people that are like new to the field, but suddenly are very, very popular. And I'm going to let you figure that out, because I was going to do a live podcast, and I might still do a live podcast so that we can interact and so that I can get your feedback as I'm sharing information with you. However, I wanted you to know that Jack Nicholson, all the information on Jack Nicholson has been suppressed. However, there is this recent thing, and allegedly when Lisa was delivered to him, he just did what he wanted to do with her and then settled out of court. This is the modus operandi that Harvey Weinstein used, and that even J.E. used, and that has been used repeatedly, generation after generation, to silence anyone who could step forward and out something that is much bigger than anything anyone of us has ever really thought about. Now, Nicholson, what I discovered is that he's multi-generational. He's not the first generation, but he's one of them. Somebody said that there's a very interesting theory about The Shining, that it's so-called a mockery of the Hollywood blackmail situations, and that when there's a scene where there's a woman who looks from behind to be young, and she's walking away, and slowly she becomes old, that what that means is that it's comparable to the way a so-called honeypot operation works, that somehow you're going in and you think you're going to get something, but then you realize, oh, wait a minute, now I'm stuck. So what I want to say is that I discovered many months ago in my research that yes, Nicholson is compromised and Nicholson has been part of this thing. And I'm not going to use the word allegedly. Do your homework. I'm going to tell you to be very careful about who you trust, who you listen to. Be very careful about posting information that could get you, I don't know, just it's just like even the victims don't want to speak. And the stories that we were told through David Boies while he was handling, and I'm going to use that word, Virginia, and nothing is as it seems. And with that, I'm just going to say, we'll catch up the next time. Okay, bye.